WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6:30 p.m.
Good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30, Getting Results. Thank you for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Justin Mormouth. With the start of school just around the corner, several Florida school districts are teaming up this year for a new approach to drugs and vaping. Yeah,
Flagler and Volusia County schools say the consequences will be different if caught. News 6's Molly Reed just heard from the districts. She joins us from Flagler County.
The state attorney here is helping these school districts too. They know that over the last few years there have been a serious problem with vaping, violence, and weapons on campuses, and they needed to come up with a new plan of attack and one that's consistent. So here today, the state attorney, Volusia, Flagler, St. Johns, and Putnam counties told us how they're tackling it starting this year.
So that we can be preventative, but also if we need to react, that we have the right interventions in place.
Now, just in Volusia County Schools, which is the largest of the districts, 30 vapes were confiscated from campuses that were laced with drugs. Several of those were laced with fentanyl. The Volusia Sheriff tells me one student a week was taken to the emergency room by ambulance for vaping incidents last year. That's on top of the dozens of weapons confiscated from Volusia campuses last year, too.
So this is being proactive. We didn't have a shooting here, but they're going ahead and acting because they see that there are problems simmering underneath the surface.
So this is the approach they're taking this year. First, all students will go through new monthly educational programs about vaping, weapons, and violence. Then they will hold assemblies for students and parents. The state attorney's office is also rolling out this new PSA featuring news clips of life-altering situations teens and kids found themselves in to show to the parents and students too. And 3 is the discipline. Now, on top of making consequences more consistent, the student also has to finish an educational program that specifically targets what landed them in trouble, and their family will be connected to a local organization.
Connecting our families to community resources that can help them over long periods of time and address areas that we as a school district cannot address.
So how did they come up with this? Well, the state attorney's office and school districts tell me that over the last year, they've been holding focus groups with parents and students, asking them what would make the biggest impact. They took their suggestions and came up with this plan. In Flagler County, I'm Molly Reed, Getting Results, News 6.
And we know right now it is a mad dash to get those school supplies before the first day next week.
Absolutely, and that's especially true since the back-to-school sales tax free holiday wraps up this weekend. So this morning on Breakfast with Bridget, anchor Bridget Ellison spoke to an expert about the opportunities to teach your students financial literacy and ways to save money this school year. The attorney and self-made millionaire says it pays to shop around to get the best bang for your buck.
Try to check out the deals, try to look online, in store. If you're really on a tight budget, you really want to check store to store. You don't want to just be hasty when you're making your decisions and purchases, because there really are some good deals out there, especially now that back to school is very imminent. 2-for-1 deals, binders. Walmart is a big one that has provided tons of back to school savings. Sometimes you find better deals in a dollar type store, and sometimes it's actually more money because they do want to pump it up to have that requisite of $1 or in that range. So some other big name companies may be a better fit.
I know we did the story earlier today, and anchor Lisa Bell said that she was shopping in her own home because they shed so many things that they don't use throughout the school year.
How many times have you ever used like a notebook? The entire thing of it, every
you
single
never
page
finish
of it,
it, no.
loose leaf. Yeah, you don't use it. This was the time of year though, when I was a kid, I'm like, oh, let's go get school supplies. And it's like the weekend before and it's picked over.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They got the knockoff like, crayons and stuff.
Everything, yeah. So go now and good luck. All right, you can catch Breakfast with Bridget live weekday mornings at 7:30 on the News 6 streaming app for your smart TV and clickorlando.com.
Well, in case you haven't heard, there are some big changes coming your way to the license. It's how it's going to look, but it's really nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Trooper Steve went on patrol with the Seminole County tax collector to figure out what you need to know.
You come up for renewal, whether if your license is renewed right now, if you renewed it today, you're going to have your whole timeline to wait until it renews again. We're not going to force anybody to go in and change it.
So there's going to be no end date to it. It's just when the license is up,
you're going to get a new one.
Yeah. Okay.
And certain things it's going to change. If you have your license number with, your landlord, or you have it with, you're on disabled tag permits, have it attached to that. So at that point, they would have to change those, to make sure that it's correlating with what we have.
What was the reason behind this?
For security. I mean, because they're right now, you said those those numbers are coded to have personal information. Obviously,
and not people know that, like, each
as a trooper,
segment,
yeah,
I could be like, I could look at someone going, I know a little bit about you just based off of the driver's license, and then that kind of probably has become pretty common knowledge.
Yeah. So everyone knows now. The first letter is the first letter of your last name.
Right.
There's like the last six. So the last two of the six of the end of the digits are your birth year.
Right.
It's broken down through all of that. That's about the best all I know about.
Well, now we know too.
I didn't know. I was wondering.
Something.
I had no clue.
We're not crooks, Justin. All right, so you can hit the road live with Trooper Steve on patrol weekday mornings at 8 on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
I'm shocked.
I'm so glad you said that because I'm like, did everyone know this?
I didn't want to sound dumb, but clearly
here we are.
We got at least two dumb people here.
All right, so let's take a look at what's trending right now on Central Florida's #1 news website, clickorlando.com. More than 20 new public stores are set to open in Florida. Find out where they are supposed to open, and they'll add to the close to 100 to the 100 we already have, or hundreds we already have, including how many? 900? Is this? Oh wow. Okay, including this new one in Orlando's Packing District.
Yeah, well, you're going to check that out.
You can't have enough public stores.
No, and you want to look at that, especially for someone who looks at growth and things like that. You follow Publix.
Yep.
They are only putting up Publix where there's a lot of growth incoming and planned growth. So you follow the growth. You follow Publix, you follow the growth. So I like looking at that, yeah.
All right,
and I'll take this one.
Yeah, please.
Here are the other stories trending right now on clickorlando.com. Sorry about that, Gigi. Longwood homeowner accused of filling a drainage pipe with concrete, creating flooding problems in her neighborhood. She had until yesterday to fix that issue, and she is now being taken to court next month. It is fascinating to see that story from start to finish.
It's so maddening, though.
It is. And any day now, a star could explode over Florida, creating a once-in-a-lifetime moment for stargazers. And for more on that story, we've got clickorlando.com and News 6 digital producer Anthony Talcott joining us. So, Tony, when can we expect to see this? This is neat.
Unfortunately, I don't really have a specific time when folks can expect to spot this in the sky. But NASA researchers expect it'll happen sometime by September, so really it could happen any moment now. But when it does happen, chances are it's going to look a little something like this. Now, if we play that, there we are. That's an artist's concept released by NASA showing a red giant and a white dwarf orbiting each other and resulting in a nova outburst. That's probably what we're going to end up seeing. Now, this star system, T Coronae Borealis, is around 3,000 light years away from Earth. Now, despite what that animation might look like, the white dwarf does survive the explosion, but the burst will be so strong that it'll be visible to the naked eye. Now, the last time this happened was back in 1946, so this will be the first time in decades that we'll get the opportunity to watch it. Now again, we don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but if you're willing to keep your eyes peeled, NASA has a few tips for where to spot it. Now you should look up after sunset and try to find the constellation Hercules as seen on this map right there. Now from there, look just a little to the side and you'll spot Coronae Borealis, the northern crown. Now this is where the outburst is expected to appear as a quote-unquote new bright star. Now if you're able to, I really strongly urge you to take advantage of the opportunity to spot this when it happens. According to astronomers, the outburst only happens once every 80 years or so, meaning this really could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But either way, you can always find all of our top stories on the homepage of clickorlando.com. So Ginger, Justin, you guys planning to catch it?
I mean, if I don't catch it now, I'm definitely not going to be around for the next one.
I think I'm going to get the rerun. I'll rely on the rerun, a.k.a., someone who's a stargazer who has, like, the appropriate telescope to maybe take a picture.
I mean, it would be something cool to see, but I feel like you have to go way out in the deep country where there's no light pollution to see this thing.
Yeah, and we also don't know. I mean, as Tony was saying, sometime between now and September, I don't know, we're going to just
my neck's going to hurt.
That's true.
Tony, thank you.
Anyway, interesting nonetheless. Well, that's not the only thing to keep an eye on. The Perseids back to dazzle the sky with bursts of light and color. And this one you probably will be able to see. The annual meteor shower that's been active since July peaks right before dawn Monday.
Yeah, it is one of the brightest and most easily viewed showers of the year. So meteorologist Jonathan Kagas tells us how to get the best view in this week's WeatherWise.
You have to get away from the city lights. The further away, the better. I know it's hard to do these days, but if you want to see a meteor shower in all of its glory, you need to get out into the countryside. You need to get away from the city lights and really headlights and things like that. and let your eyes adjust. This is not something that you can just go out and see, but just by looking up. If you get lucky, maybe, but you really need to pack your patience with this. I always recommend maybe taking the evening, laying out a blanket, picnic blanket, something like that, and just laying back and looking up at the stars. You need to give yourself about 15 minutes to 30 minutes for your eyes to adjust to the darkness. What's happening there is you're letting in all the extra light there. Your pupils are adjusting to let in more of the light so that you can see better in the darkness. More tips on the light part. Use the color red. If you are serious about stargazing and things like that, you want to make sure you have a red tinted flashlight, because that does not impact your night vision, so to speak. Your night vision once your eyes adjust to the night. So if you turn on a flashlight and your eyes kind of get adjusted again to the light, then it's going to be the same deal. You're not going to be able to see some of those fainter meteors as they go. So again, give yourself some time for your eyes to adjust and all of that as well.
All right, so the key is you got to be away from the light pollution, right? And it can't be cloudy.
That is true. So there's a couple of things working against. The weather should be good in most places locally to see this, but it's the light pollution, because I'll get so many emails like, I looked up and saw nothing. You got to get away, especially because the moon is going to be about half full.
Oh my gosh!
So there's more obstacles.
You can't turn that down.
I know you can't. No, you cannot. You like maybe block it out. But it does do wonders to break out the fainter ones. You need those fainter ones to get the whole display. So get out to the countryside.
Yeah, do something. Okay, so we want you to help us with this, though.
Yeah.
Open up your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen, and click the link. We want to see your pictures and videos of that meteor shower, and they could end up right here on TV, especially if they're good. You could also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way as well. So good luck with all that spotting out there.
And while you're on our website, you can catch Jonathan going in depth on the big weather stories weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Watch WeatherWise on our new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV at clickorlando.com.
All right, they are off to Williamsport. News 6 was there as the Lake Mary All-Stars packed up and headed out for the Little League World Series.
I hope to make Central Florida proud. We're not just up there to go up there.
They are up there to win it. We're walking you through what's next for this team as they make a historic run to the title. Jonathan.
We are pinpointing some thunderstorms out there right now. This is mainly around and along I-4, give or take, and pushing back to the Atlantic coast. We'll take a look at where these are headed and break down your weekend coming up.
Also ahead, a group of kids using their summer break to get a glimpse at their future. The special employment program they all just graduated from. You're watching News 6 at 6:30. Live on News 6 Plus, we're getting results in Mount Dora, Port Canaveral, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert. You're going to see everything that were normal or that is normally scheduled, because we don't have that much weather moving through. So keep in mind, Seminole County east and westbound along I-4, especially in your eastbound direction, going from Seminole into Volusia, you'll see some overnight lane closures and possibly some ramp work. So you got to be careful there. Down in Lake Nona, 417 north and southbound, that shoulder work's getting pretty heavy, so you need to be careful, but no major shutdowns. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
All right, here's a live look now over Daytona Beach from our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia camera. What a beautiful sight that is.
Beautiful sight.
Gorgeous.
You do see a few showers
Yeah, you
up
see some
there
shafts
in the distance. And I know meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is watching some showers pop up, a few storms as well out there. It is getting later in the day, but they're still out there, Jonathan.
They are. They're pushing from west to east tonight, so giving our friends along the coast some rain. We got a few of the banding features from Debbie, of course, along the coast. But now this is much needed still for us, so change the pattern up for you. Did it just for you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, we need the rain bad out here for us along the I-95 corridor, and at least we're getting some relief as these work from west to east. Now, not everybody going to see it. We do have a couple of downpours hanging around Rockledge into Palm Bay, a few light showers around the Space Coast. Daytona Beach, we are done with that heavier thunderstorm that was on the south side of the beach. We have a couple of storms we're watching for you in and around Palm Coast, Beverly Beach. Those have pushed back out to sea. A couple of downpours in Lake County. Those are really going to try to fizzle out over the next several minutes. We are still under the influence a little bit of Debbie. Now, the storm itself is way up into the Carolinas, into parts of the mid-Atlantic through Virginia. On the back end of this, there's a lot of dry air in play, and that's in the mid-levels of our atmosphere. The humidity, though, that we have felt really ratchet up over the last few days, that's also courtesy of Debbie, a big counterclockwise flow pumping in the extremely humid air that resides over the Gulf of Mexico. So if it's even been a little more humid than what we're typically used to, that is the reason why. Here's a live look outside right now in downtown Orlando. We can see a couple of those puffy or cumulus clouds starting to go up, trying to bubble up a few more thunderstorms just before 7 o'clock. We're at 91 degrees. It's a live look with our light Orlando delivering hope skycam. The breeze right now out of the west-southwest at about 13 miles an hour. We're at 90 in Kissimmee into St. Cloud. Claremont, we're at 92. Four Corners, we're hanging around 90. 87 in Palm Coast. 82 in Daytona Beach after that thunderstorm went on through. We're back to 81 in New Smyrna. Now here's a look at tonight.
Your forecast is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
Okay, so we should be into the mid-90s, or mid-70s, I should. If we were in the mid-90s overnight, we'd have some problems. But mid-70s overnight, 74 degrees is the average. We're going to be around 80, so still a few notches above that. And when you're waking up to temperatures in the lower 80s, it's a little steamy out there. And we're going to be in that same ballpark again this evening. Next couple of hours, we're going to fire up a few more storms around I-4. Those are going to push quickly, though, back out to sea. Most of us are dry for the second half of the evening, especially the further west you are to I-75. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we are looking good. A few scattered thunderstorms, and then again start to pop up. Move from west to east, so the higher rain chances will be along the 95 corridor. Lower rain chances tomorrow along I-75. Hurricane Center outlooking a tropical wave. This is likely the start of a pretty active stretch. It's been looking like August 10th, give or take, was going to be the flip that has switched back on. They have highlighted this development zone here, that orange blob, toward the greater Antilles and lesser Antilles, and then eventually towards the Turks and Caicos. Optimistic anyway that we do have this thing curve before it gets to Florida. Nonetheless, it's going to be something to watch. This is likely going to become a stronger hurricane as well east of Florida. Again, cautiously optimistic, but we are watching this one closely. 95 tomorrow, 40% shot for storms, 50% chance on Saturday, keeping that storm chance at 60% for the back half of the weekend, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, they are arguably some of the coolest kids in all of Florida right now. We're talking about the Lake Mary All-Star baseball team.
How could you not love these guys? They're in Williamsport tonight ahead of their historic run at the Little League World Series title. Only the best 20 baseball teams in the world actually make it there. For those of you unfamiliar with the tournament, it is played every year up in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. News 6's Mark Lehman spoke to the Seminole County boys, making all of Florida proud.
The bags are packed and reality is setting in for the Lake Mary All-Stars. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling it now. I'm getting a little goosebumps.
From the coaches to the players.
It feels really good. I feel like just on the plane ride, everyone's just going to be so happy.
And their parents who are sending the kids off to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, less than 2 days after the All-Stars locked in their spot to the Little League World Series.
After the game, when they finally won it, we just gave each other a big hug. We both started crying like a baby. It was just amazing.
It's a big moment these kids will cherish.
Therefore, taking down memories, journaling a little bit, getting some signatures, and hopefully something they can look back on and remember.
It will be the experience of a lifetime, but head coach Jonathan Anderson says the mission remains clear.
I hope to make Central Florida proud. We're not just up there to go up there. We're up there to represent the Central Florida, bring back a title.
The All-Stars are hoping to become the first team from Florida to win it all. What sets your team apart from the rest of the competition?
The connection, the chemistry. I mean, we ran miles together after practices.
And when the first pitch is thrown on Wednesday, the community is ready to cheer them on the entire way.
To be able to be in it and to go to it and have your son out there on the field, it's going to be amazing.
Coach Anderson says one of the first things he wants to do once getting up to Williamsport is taking their kids on the field so they can soak everything in and then focus on winning their first game. He also says a GoFundMe has been set up to help families of these players with travel expenses. We put details about that under this story on clickorlando.com. In Lake Mary, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
I do encourage people to look for that GoFundMe because
Please
those
do.
parents deserve to go up there and see those boys really, bring it all home.
They're moving mountains to make this happen. I mean, think about it, especially the ones who have younger siblings or older siblings who are starting school on Monday. These kids are obviously not. And as a parent, you might be wanting to bring everyone. So that just adds to the bottom line,
I
right?
know. We'll show them some love, of course, as we always do. So as Mark said, the first game is Wednesday night. First pitch is at 7 o'clock. And I am going to be here rooting for them.
Oh, yeah. And there'll be watch parties all throughout Central Florida, especially up in Lake Mary. Hey, and I'm going to be in Williamsport with the team as they make their run at the World Series. I'll bring you updates, all the big moments, and all the storylines. And there are plenty of them with this group of kids. They are a lot of fun to be around, and I'm looking forward to seeing them make some noise in Williamsport.
I am so excited that you are their special correspondent.
Hey,
awesome.
That's not something I take lightly either. I'm going to do my.
I know, for sure.
Work so hard to do
Looking
it.
forward to it. Well, a group of kids is using their summer break to get a glimpse at their future. We first showed you the Orlando Summer Youth Employment Program earlier in the summer when the kids were just getting started.
Today, though, the Summer Youth Employment Program wrapped up, and now those kids who are a part of it are ready for not just the new school year, but a life after graduation. News 6's Darrell Baker was there.
Coming in, I knew a lot, but leaving this program, I knew even more. Thank you for everybody that helped me along the way. Thank you for their time.
While several students enjoyed their time off this summer, these young scholars were clocking into work during the City of Orlando's Summer Youth Employment Program.
Jamila, I know that we spoke with you before about your experience there and being a part of this program. What was it like?
It was actually really amazing.
City leaders held a ceremony Thursday to recognize 600 kids in the program, including Boone High School senior Jamila Thomas, for wrapping up a 5-week paid internship with Darling Law Firm.
Compared to Law & Order, how was this experience like for you?
Honestly, it is not like Law & Order.
Jamila says that she's been interested in working in law since the 7th grade. And even though her legal experience wasn't like what she saw on TV, she's been inspired to pursue a career in criminal defense.
I was able to learn social skills, business skills, and learning how to interact with others.
Kaylee Johnson worked with Sweetie's Ice Cream this summer. She was happy that she gave the program a try.
Don't be scared to try out. Go out. Your friends say don't do it. You trying to be go do it. It's going to be better for you when you get older.
Several students were recognized during the ceremony for their hard work.
Miss Jamila Thomas.
You saw her get up there on stage. She was recognized with quite a bit of awards, even an MVP. What was it like watching that?
No, it just makes you proud because you want to always give back to where you came from. And, sometimes it's not all me, right? Like sometimes you just get the kid that is the MVP and they just show up and do what they're supposed to do. And that's what happened this summer.
Employers say it was a privilege to give the next generation their first experience in the workplace, and they want to continue being involved in the program. City officials say they plan to hold this program again in the fall. In Orlando, Darrell Baker, Getting Results, News 6.
That's awesome. What was your first job?
My first job was an Orlando Magic ball boy.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
When I was 16.
We remember that.
Yeah. And then from there, I was a JV baseball coach at Lake Brantley. And then I started here.
Wow,
so those are my jobs. I've had 3.
That's great. That's a lot.
We have, by the way, several great contests going on right now for our News 6 Insiders. We're going to walk through those for you up next.
Coming up in the morning, a major milestone for Sunrail.
The ribbon cutting planned for a brand new station just days before the first passengers will be able to hop on board.
And your pinpoint weather and traffic every 10 minutes. We'll see you for News 6 Mornings 5 to 7.
A reminder, we have several great contests going on for our News 6 Insiders.
We sure do, and right now you can enter to win 2 tickets to a driver meet and greet experience at the Coke Zero Sugar 400, along with several other prizes. This is a pretty good one right now. And, by the way, you also have a chance to win up to $500 in grocery gift cards from Kroger. The chain only offers delivery in Florida, and we are picking 20 winners for this contest.
That's great, and that's not all, folks. You can also
boy.
enter to win a new fridge from Southeast Steel, along with a $500 Walmart gift card. For all of these contests, you can enter daily to increase your chances to win. Just head on over to clickorlando.com/insider. If you're not an insider, it is free to sign up, so do it.
Why not? Look at those great prizes. Well, when it comes to heat in Florida, it's not as simple as those high temperatures, right? There is so much more that goes into it.
Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos explains.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity, right? How many times do you hear that here in Central Florida? Because it's true. Here in Central Florida, not only do we follow the actual temperatures in the summer, but it's that feels like temperatures that will make it feel even hotter. Did you know that the humidity can make temperatures feel between 10 to 15 degrees hotter than the actual temperature? That's called feels like. Let me explain. Think of your body as having an internal AC unit, regulating the temperatures to make sure you don't go too hot or too cold. Now, one way that the body cools down is by sweating, and it's the evaporation that helps cool down your temperature. But we've got a problem. It's called humidity. When the air is super saturated with moisture, it doesn't allow the sweat on our skin to evaporate, which is why our bodies are thinking it's way hotter than that. Get it? Feels like temperatures.
She broke that down. Yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve when people think that meteorologists hype the heat with the heat index. No, it's there. It's
Why would
calculated.
you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's
it's hot. And it's funny, I saw one of my buddies on Twitter go at somebody because it's like, yeah, you're making these comments from your air conditioning house, not having to be outside for more than 5 or 10 minutes. Seriously, when that heat index gets above 105, you have to take it serious because your body will shut down. It's a matter of science.
It's a dangerous
thing.
thing.
Absolutely
It's like
is,
a broccoli steam bag that you put. I mean, that's what it.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
That's how I think of
We
it.
leave you with that visual tonight. Thank you for watching News 6 at 6:30. Stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
We break news on clickorlando.com. They'll see you back at 11. Take care.
Every day we flow through our lives, working, playing, taking care of our families, never really giving a thought to how hard our heart is working. But so many of us are living with issues that could result in a serious problem called an aneurysm. Today we are at the Orlando Health Heart and Vascular Institute, and we are thrilled to be joined by Dr. Aleem Mirza. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So you are a vascular surgeon. Tell me a little bit about what that entails.
So as vascular surgeons, we work on blood vessels throughout the entire body. And we work on several different types of problems, including blockages in those blood vessels, blood clots in those blood vessels, as well as aneurysms, which are categorized as ballooning or a degeneration of an artery to 1.5 times its usual size.
And at some point, these can rupture.
Yes.
And then you have a bleed out in the body.
Correct. So it's our job as vascular surgeons to diagnose these aneurysms, which frequently sit silent, but to find these aneurysms and then to monitor them until they reach the appropriate size to be repaired.
Okay, so the great part is if you find it and you catch it before it ruptures, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do these days.
Correct. What a stent does is it allows us to perform a minimally invasive surgery without making an incision on a patient. So we're able to go through the skin and put large IVs into the arteries on the top of the leg or in the groin, and then deliver a stent up into the aorta and seal the aneurysm from the inside out. You know, we need to measure the size of the aorta to be able to determine what size stent someone needs. We need to measure the length of stent that we need to use. And so nowadays we actually have a very nice tool where we're able to put a patient CT scan on a special program, take very accurate measurements of the diameter of the width of the aorta as well as the length needed, and we're able to determine what type of stent they need. Now, if the aneurysm extends up to the kidney arteries and we're not able to achieve a seal, that's where designing a customized stent comes into play.
And Orlando Health has basically brought this technology to our community.
Yes, so this technology has existed in the United States, but we have recently really built the program, expanded the program, and expanded the use of this technology beyond what it was being used right here in Central Florida.
And it is minimally invasive, which means there's less recovery time, there's less time in surgery, it's easier on the patient's body, all of those things.
Correct.
It's another reason to choose well with Orlando Health. If you would like more information, you can visit orlandohealth.com/heart.